That was
Here we
perfect.
are. Isn't that?
That was bang
I'm
on.
getting better. The
Bang
Mike
on.
Devine, Mark Panopoulos chimes.
Yeah.
The
The name just keeps growing.
It does.
Just keeps growing.
This is the Top 40 video show, the Top 40 Timeline video show.
Video version.
And where we, every week,
Our version.
every week I'm across the world. These guys are with me on the video, but every week I'm on many radio stations of the Top 40 Timeline, which is the best of music from yesterday, from this week in history. And we have funny stories and a trivia and all kinds of stuff. So.
Yeah, we're just the other part of the Three Stooges.
Yeah, we're the other part. So here we are, and as a matter of fact, we have an opening story this week that I used on the radio show earlier this week.
Well, let's get who we're brought to you by first. And,
Well, we're brought to you by British Columbia Tourism. Now,
beautiful British Columbia.
can you imagine?
Oh.
You know, Salmon Arm, BC has to be the most beautiful place on earth. Honest to God. Or Banff is a close second.
It's up there. When you get up into that part of the country, it's so beautiful.
The mountains.
It is. I got to travel to BC for 2.5 years, and I got to see a big part of the province. And man, it's beautiful. It's just dynamite.
The thing you don't understand about British Columbia is when you think about Prince George, BC, you think of big mountains. There ain't a mountain to be seen.
No.
You can see your dog walk away for a week.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
have to go that way a little bit.
The landscape vastly changes between
Prince Rupert is beautiful too.
Oh God, yeah. There's so many spots.
Kitimat.
Victoria, the whole island is just absolutely
Vancouver.
gorgeous. Vancouver Island's gorgeous.
Gorgeous province.
It is. I loved every time I was going there. It was like, yep, no problem.
And we're the Air Radio Network, and I'm Big Daddy, and of course, as you mentioned. And so, what's the opening story there?
This one's a great funny story. Coming out of Florida, it's been all over social media. This chick is cleaning up literally. She's charging $300 US an hour to work as a topless maid. She comes into your home, takes her top off, and cleans your house for $300 an hour. Sammy from Tampa Bay claimed on Instagram she cleans 5 houses a day, sometimes, and also makes tips, which can be quite high. She can make up to $1,430 US daily. And for her safety, Sammy says she has a security guard waiting in a car outside the homes while she's cleaning.
I guess so.
I would hope so, anyway.
Well, that's really putting temptation into
Yeah,
I mean,
and
I don't blame her for protecting herself. Like
I
that.
get that, but the security guard, how long is it going to take him to get in and find out what room they're in?
He's making money too, though.
It sounds like a pretty smart and profitable way to earn a living. The security guard, he gets 35% of what she makes. Sammy says her $1,430 figure was after the security guard's cut, which makes sense.
She's making a good buck.
She didn't say how good a job she does cleaning the house, though.
Who cares?
But it's likely her customers don't really care too much about the quality of the job. But you never know what goes through people's minds. I find that just... I saw a picture of her online, and if that's actually her, yeah, she's making good money. And I'm sure she's booked quite a bit.
I got that from the Toronto Sun, as a matter of fact, and that is her.
Yeah.
She's a very attractive gal, no doubt about it. But just be very careful. I tried to do that, and it didn't work for me at all.
No.
I went topless cleaning and just didn't turn anybody on at all.
Didn't matter how well you cleaned.
No,
it didn't. And I probably cleaned better than she did. Here's a couple of memes from hell. I'd like to say hi to Nigel Crane, who carries our radio show on his radio station in the UK. And his picture of, that's a bunch of Red Bull cans here. And it says, I didn't sleep well last night, so I made my coffee this morning with Red Bull instead of water. I got halfway to work before I realized I forgot my car.
Gross.
Ba-doom, ba-ding.
Oh, man.
And we'll do one more. This is from Bretta Crossman in Georgetown, Ontario, Canada. Hot den of inequity, romance, and danger. I was in a job interview today when the manager handed me his laptop and said, I want you to try and sell this to me. So I put it under my arm, walked out of the building, and went home. Eventually, he called my mobile and said, bring it back here right now. And I said, $200 and it's yours. That's a great one. I love that.
That's a good pitch, I guess.
Yeah, so there's some of the stuff, the highlights of what's on the radio
it's
show.
Kind of like holding it for ransom, I guess you could kind of say.
Well, he did exactly what the guy asked him to do.
Yeah.
You know? And plus he's probably got the job plus $200.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
All right.
Just to give him his bloody laptop back.
Are you going to intro your trivia, darling? And of course,
Leah.
This is Leah Lywood, as Lee mentioned, and she is the one that. She's the boss of the two of us, our producer, but she's also
Not really, but
a radio host on our local radio station, and she puts together her trivia. So why don't you kick it off?
Well, of course, music.
Your music
is
trivia
is my thing too.
That's right.
So, a little tidbit, Janis Joplin was arrested in 1969 for using vulgar language during a gig. How things have changed, eh? Wow. John Lennon was quoted, "I basically became a musician because of Elvis Presley."
Well, I always thought Buddy Holly was more of an influence than Elvis was on Lennon, but I guess I was wrong.
You know what? If you listen to the music, I think the Elvis thing was the entertainer style part of it more so than the songwriter, because Elvis didn't write a lot of his music. He had very little to do with the writing, whereas Buddy Holly, when you listen to early Beatles, that's Buddy Holly's sound.
That's
you
right.
You can hear it.
You can hear it. Yeah, absolutely.
God,
You know, and that's the Crickets, the Silver Beatles.
Yeah.
The Beatles, the Crickets, it all connects together.
Yeah.
And that's how, in a way, they were named, as a matter of fact. What happened on this day in this week in 1721?
When I was just a wee lad, Johann Sebastian Bach dedicates his Brandenburg concertos to the Christian Ludwig, the Margrave of Brandenburg-Schwedt. Bach wrote the pieces for the Margrave to gain extra support for his work. And most people know him as Bach.
Yeah.
Johann Sebastian is not synonymous with him most of the time, but 1721. And music was just as popular back then as it is today.
Yeah. And music is what it is. It's
music
everything.
Is music. And Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart completes his piano concerto number 24 in C minor K491. Beethoven hears the work in rehearsal. And I've just lost my story. Where did it go? There we are. Beethoven hears the work in rehearsal and remarks in admiration to the colleagues that we shall never be able to do anything like that again.
That's a bold statement.
Well, coming between those two.
Yeah. Beethoven and Mozart, like when you think of classical music, those are probably the two on the top of the list. I would say anybody, if you were playing Family Feud, those two would be 1 and 2, I would think.
Absolutely. What's going on with Mick Jagger in 62, Leah?
Mick Jagger and Keith Richards performed their first paid gig when they appear as Little Boy Blue and the Blue Boys at a club in Ealing, England.
Ealing, England.
Ealing, England.
Little Boy Blue and the Blue Boys. Interesting name, actually, if you think about it.
That's how they started.
In 1973, a fan shouting "leather" jumps on stage and bites Lou Reed in the ass during a concert in Buffalo. It could only happen in Buffalo. The only time they ever had the Blue Jays down there was when no one could go to the game.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I love Buffalo. It's just that we've got this Toronto-Buffalo thing going. I'm a big Bills fan, but I'm not a Sabres fan. Sorry. The fan is ejected in Buffalo, and Reed is left with a sore bum. Apparently, he had a sore bum.
Can you imagine someone jumping up on stage and chewing your butt?
Oh God! Hey, I got a story about that. It's almost close, but I'm not going into it.
No, there's a certain point in your mind where it says no, don't go there.
Yeah, it's a little too graphic, but
you can tell me later though.
Yeah, oh God, yeah. We'll tell that one off camera for sure.
I want to hear it.
1973, with Soul Train gaining popularity, Dick Clark Production airs a competing show called Soul Unlimited, which lasts only one episode as it caves to pressure from black leaders. And Gladys Knight and Rufus Thomas are the guests. So why did the black leaders get mad?
Yeah.
They had black people as the guests on the show. So
Well, you know what? You kind of look at it from
It's
their
a-
perspective. Dick Clark already had a founded
yeah.
following, right? Whereas they were just starting to open up. So
Which was
you
also-
can kind of see.
Which was also
Yeah.
very prominently white. And,
Well,
not-
exactly.
At that time, that's what it was.
It was.
Well, the early,
But-
yeah.
The early 70s, you still had a lot of that, right?
I used to love Soul
yeah.
Train. Soul
Oh,
Train
God,
was a
yeah.
great show.
I still do.
Yeah.
Motown?
Yeah.
Oh,
My mom and
Love it.
dad
Love
loved
it.
Philly
it.
sound, the Motown sounds.
reminds me of my mom
Yeah.
listening to Motown.
Your mom?
We used to dance.
Me mom.
Dance to the Motown in front of the big old radio.
During 1996, former Milli Vanilli member Rob Pilatus was hospitalized after a man had the nerve to hit him over the head with a baseball bat in Hollywood, California. By the way, he was attempting to steal the man's car at the time of the attack. Oh, by the way, I used to sing in Milli Vanilli. You know that song that...
Blame it on
actually,
the
well, actually, it
rain.
wasn't me singing, really.
That's
but,
right.
But I'm still
I
taking
feel
your
bad
card.
for those guys,
Hey,
though.
those
You
guys,
know what?
but I got to give them this. They were really good lip syncers.
Oh, sure they
They
were.
were really good at lip
And
syncing.
actually, he died at a young age because of the following after everything
God,
that had
yeah.
happened. And
Those-
he was actually, anything I've ever read about him over the years, he was a wonderful man. Loving,
Oh, yeah,
caring, great guy, and he didn't deserve the fallout that hit.
They got screwed over too. They knew they were
Big
doing
time.
it. They didn't think that it was going to go as far as it did either. Like those songs became big hits.
Huge.
The videos did as well. So yeah, I don't think they really thought it was going to go the way it did go.
Yeah.
So
Too bad.
Roland Azabal from Tears for Fears' first concert was Motorhead. That's an interesting span of music from Tears for Fears to Motorhead. So
ACCD.
and AC/DC back in England in 1976. So yeah, very weird, interesting combination.
1956, this week, Fats Domino headlines for the first time, or the first day, rather, of a 3-day concert organized by DJ Alan Freed in Hartford, Connecticut. Over the course of the shows, 11 fans are arrested by overzealous police. It's a litmus test for rock concerts, as
Good word for
and
it.
their effect
word.
on young people. Psychiatrist Francis Braceland testifies afterwards that rock music is a communicable disease, with music appealing to adolescent insecurity and driving teenagers to do outlandish things, man. It is cannibalistic and tribalistic. Oh, my God, give me a break. Have we ever come a long way from
No
1956?
kidding, eh?
Well, remember in the late 80s or early 90s when, bands like, Motorhead and Metallica and, Judas Priest and Motley Crue were all, because they're saying, their records had satanic messages in them if you played it backwards. And they had to go in front of Congress. Like, this wasn't just they had to go in front of Congress to prove, because kids were killing themselves, they were killing other people and blaming it on the band. Like, it was ridiculous, and it just,
So that happened for so many years in the younger days.
yeah.
Because everything to do with rock and roll was all about everything bad that was happening with teenagers.
Everything that was bad happening in the world, they tried to blame it on at
Well,
one
that
point.
too,
So.
but-
What's happening this week in 1969?
So in 1969, countering the counterculture, about 30,000 people attended the Rally for Decency in Miami after Jim Morrison was charged with indecent exposure in the city. Celebrities at the event included Kate Smith, Jackie Gleason, The Letterman, and Anita Bryant.
What a mix of people that is.
Mm-hmm.
Kate Smith, Jackie Gleason,
Jackie
The
Gleason too, eh?
Letterman,
That's
and
crazy.
Anita Bryant. My God.
Haven't heard of him in a long time.
To the moon, Alice.
Yeah.
In 1974, Hall & Oates, She's Gone, peaks at number 60 on the Hot 100. The duo were each dealing with girl problems when they wrote that song. That's a timeless song, that one.
It is,
It
but
is.
when you listen to the song,
Yeah.
you pretty much get the story.
Yeah,
But it's
yeah,
interesting that it
yeah,
wasn't just
yeah.
one of them that
Yeah,
wrote
it
it,
was
because
both.
they were both having the same difficulty at the same time.
Ooh, ooh,
See, everybody thinks rock stars is, they got all these chicks and this and that. You know what? Some of them just want to have a relationship and carry on and live their life.
that's
You
it.
know,
Most of them do. I would
a lot of
imagine.
them do, actually. Yeah, it's back in the hair band heydays of the 80s and 90s. Yeah, okay, there was a lot of groupies and this and that, but a lot of those guys were married.
No.
You know, they had relationships. 2021, Grammy Award-winning producer Ethel Gabriel passes away in New York at the age of 99. The trailblazer for women in the music industry, she was one of the first women to work as a record producer. We had a son-of-a-gun president at RCA who was not favorable to women in the industry, she said in 1992. He put me in charge of the Camden label, the economy line subsidiary, because it was supposed to fail. I'm sure he thought it was a way to get rid of me. Well, I made a multi-million-dollar line out of it, conceived, programmed, and produced everything.
So she did.
So, well-deserved award for her as well before she passed away. So.
Well, she lived to a ripe old age at 99. She didn't do too bad.
Yeah, absolutely.
In years.
Good for her.
Here's a few. I'll do a bunch here. Jack White's passion is taxidermy.
I did know this, yeah.
Well, recently revealed himself as an enthusiast who has a large collection of stuffed animals, including a zebra head, 2 gazelles, and a giant white elk. J.K.'s first job was a kilt maker. You can't make shit like that up. In 1962, 19-year-old Barbra Streisand makes her Broadway debut, starring in the play I Can Get It For You Wholesale. There's only one singer in the world who's a female singer who's better than Barbra. Do you know who that is? I'm talking about a perfection of voice.
I can think of a few, but...
Celine?
No.
Nowhere near.
No,
I agree. I'm just, you're asking me.
It's Karen Carpenter.
Oh, yeah. You're right. Hands down. Oh, yeah. She was multi-talented.
She was just amazing.
Oh, yeah. She was so talented.
I'm sorry. I don't need to take away from Babs. I mean, I love her, too.
Not at all.
I mean, she's got a beautiful voice, too. Yeah. But it's close between those two. But Karen is just the perfected voice.
Yeah.
It's just... And some of those...
When they say a voice of an angel, that's who I think of right away as Karen.
When I hear... It used to be on the air, you know, top 40 songs come and go. But when I had a Carpenter song coming up, I always turn it up just to listen to her.
Yeah.
Yesterday Once More, just to be
there's so many. You couldn't pull them apart.
Just
so
every
many.
part of her performance was perfect in every way.
Can you imagine where she'd be right now? Or where she would have been had she have lived...
Yeah.
Later in life, what her music would have been.
It's sad that she ended up with anorexia and stuff like that.
She had depression, severe depression.
Yeah, absolutely.
Severe depression.
All right. 1973, the BBC banned all teeny bopper acts appearing on UK TV show Top of the Pops after a riot following a David Cassidy performance. And it's funny, I was watching a bit of a bio on David and Sean Cassidy.
Oh, that'd be cool. I haven't seen that.
They were really close.
They were very, very close, actually. And it was interesting to see how they interacted together throughout their careers, even up until David passed away. But watching Sean being interviewed,
you mean when Sean passed away?
No, it was David passed away. Sean's still alive.
Okay, see, and I'm thinking of Andy Gibb. I'm mixing the combinations up. My bad.
Yeah.
The interview with Sean was just done in like 2022 or something like that.
Yeah, I'd like to see
he still
that.
looks great. Looks absolutely great. Everybody's like, oh, where you been? He says, I produce. I work in the studios. And
amazing.
You know.
Well, he's not the 19-year-old Sean Cassidy.
He's not that teeny
the
no.
Ron anymore.
Exactly.
He's a grown man now.
But even just before David passed away, he and David wrote a song that was used in, I can't remember the television show, but it was. But people got to remember that a lot of musicians that fall off the face of the earth go into jingle writing. They go into writing music for Christmas movies. All your movies on Netflix and stuff like that. There's people writing that background music and that. And a lot of the times, these guys are musicians you knew from whether it was a 1 or 2 hit wonder band back in the 80s or 90s. These musicians are from that band, and this is where they've taken their career instead of being in the spotlight. So, yeah.
Carry on.
1976. Give that to Leah.
While campaigning for U.S. President, Jimmy Carter tells NARM, the National Association of Record Merchandisers, that he listened to Bob Dylan, Grateful Dead, and Led Zeppelin while he was the governor of Georgia.
I think, of course, he's in palliative care now, isn't he?
From last I heard, he
wasn't
basically
doing
worked
well.
on Habitat for Humanity until he collapsed. He fell on site or something, and he hasn't been well since.
No,
so-
he's in palliative care now.
yeah.
So
I would
it's
say
just
so.
a matter of time now.
Like,
But,
he worked up until his 90s
Great
on the Habitat for Humanity.
My
Yeah, he
favorite
did.
president of all time.
Of all, I tend to agree. I think so
Such
too.
a beautiful man, you know.
You
If you
know.
want somebody to lead your country,
Yeah.
have that guy do it. And he did it for several years. Unfortunately, others took over. This week in 2004, Ozzy Osbourne. Oh,
Here we go.
Here we go with Ozzy.
Ozzy was
I love this one.
was named the nation's favorite ambassador to welcome aliens to planet Earth. The 55-year-old singer came top of a poll as the face people want to represent them to alien life. Apparently, the poll of internet users was carried out following the discovery of signs of water on Mars. Ozzy won 26% of the vote. A spokesman for Yahoo News said, "As the world waits desperately for signs of alien life, we decided to ask our users who they thought was best suited for the most auspicious of roles. And Ozzy, of course, is a great choice, but I'm not sure what the Martians would make of his individual approach to the English language." Callan! Or Shannon? Callan?
Oh my God.
This dog's pissed on my rug. Get out of here, you!
I just, where do people come up with this stuff? How to even think about coming up with that poll? Oh, okay.
I would have loved to
to
have been a-
present to our
Why
Martian
not
friends?
Ozzy?
I would have loved to have been a fly on the wall when he met the
Absolutely.
Queen. When he met the Queen, I'd love to see
A
that.
lot of people don't know this
Oh
one.
my God.
This is just a little tidbit. The Fleetwood Mac album Tusk is named after Fleetwood Mac's drummer, nickname for his father, his old man.
I didn't know that.
So he called his
I didn't know
dad
that.
Tusk. So very, very cool. I'll do one more. Ozzy Osbourne was quoted, "You should live every day as if it was your last, because you don't know when the hand of doom is gonna come." And that'd probably be his message to the aliens.
It would be.
Hopefully.
Would be.
It's his own message for himself.
Yeah.
Jumping Jehoshaphat.
He's not doing well either, actually. He's been quite ill as well. So,
Yeah, he has been.
Yeah,
He's not well enough to
unfortunately,
travel, I know that.
No, he's not doing well.
And you want to do that quick Lou Reed one?
Well, Lou Reed's first concert was the Moon Glows on the Alan Freed Package Show.
Wow.
A little bit of history and trivia. Oh, sorry, that's going into the next one.
Yeah, that's no problem.
I'm getting ahead of myself here.
Oh, yeah, you're doing a great job out here. You've got a new star here.
Everybody,
Not the worst
everybody thinks
stars.
this is just easy and we just
it's
make
not.
it up as we go along. No.
I'm learning. I'm learning.
1952, Cleveland stakes a claim on rock history when the Moondog Coronation Ball is held at the Cleveland Arena. Organized by the WJWDJ, Alan Freed, Moondog on the Air, it is widely considered the first rock concert. It may also be one of the shortest, as it was shut down after one song. Over 25,000 people turned up for the show, prepared to hear bands such as the Dominoes and Tiny Grimes and the Rocking Highlanders. The problem is that the capacity of the arena is only 10,000. As
Remember,
the
there's 25,000 people.
25,000 in there. As the overflow crowd tries to bust through the barriers, Paul Williams and his Hucklebuckers are
great
not even able to make it through one song before the Cleveland Police Department, supported by the firefighters bearing hoses, bring the show to a halt. Oh, poor Alan, he's just trying out. Now, despite the fact that the show never really gets off the ground, it is considered the first rock and roll concert. Cleveland has had a revival of the show every year since 1992, featuring classic rock and rhythm and blues artists of the 60s and 70s. And Cleveland's a great town. I've been there a few times.
God,
and,
yeah. A very rock and roll town. As
Oh,
you know, the
it
Rock and Roll
is,
Hall
yeah.
of Fame's there too as well.
well, that's where Alan Freed started. He didn't start
Yeah.
in New York.
Yeah.
He started,
Cleveland.
Don Imus is also tied to Cleveland, too.
Yeah. 1976, the French actress Claudine Longuet, ex-wife of Andy Williams, shoots her live-in lover, the famed skier Spider Sabak, at his home in Aspen, Colorado. The shooting is ruled an accident, and Longuet is sentenced to 30 days in jail for criminal negligence. and her case inspires the Rolling Stones song Claudine.
See what you don't know, and now you know
I
it.
think it is.
There you go. What about
So,
1982?
1982, Little Johnny Jones, with Donny Osmond in the lead role, opens in Broadway at the Elvin Theatre and closes after just one heavily panned performance. Osmond's career withers, but is revived in 1989 with the hit Soldier of Love, and in 1992 with a 6-year run starring in the touring production of Joseph and the Amazing
that's right.
Technicolor Dreamcoat.
That's
Remember
right,
that?
He was, yeah, that's right.
He was really big on that.
Oh,
That was
yeah.
one
Now-
probably his biggest.
That's probably really what brought him back into the household name
Oh, yeah.
spotlight again.
Do you know who brought Donny Osmond's record into the charts?
No.
Was Scott Shannon, the amazing guy in New York City, Z100.
Okay.
And he said, hey, man, this is a good song. And Scott Shannon was the program director of many radio stations. He was on CBS FM in New York. You guys might not know him from being from Toronto, but when you're a radio historian, it's hard not to miss a guy like, you know.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
So he's the one that said, hey, man, and Z100 started playing it, and then Donnie was just elated. Donnie is a really nice guy, you know.
Oh, yeah.
Donnie and
Yeah.
Marie,
Oh,
they're
good
both
family, I
nice people.
think
Well,
they
it's
were.
you know, they were that whole family thing, and I think a lot of it, like I said, you look at a lot of his brothers and stuff, they went into production and being, you know, and sound
Yeah.
engineers and the behind the scenes people that are out there that a lot of people forget about, you know. So
Little bit of country and a little bit of rock and roll.
you know, don't really know his music.
Well, no, that was him and his sister when
I
they had
remember,
that show. Yeah,
vaguely when
yeah.
you said it, but all right, you get the big one here, Big Daddy.
Oh, thank you. This one here is War and Peace, Part 1. 1985 in Vancouver, the Canadian wheelchair athlete Rick Hansen begins his Man in Motion tour to raise money for spinal cord research. Inspired by his quest, fellow Canadian David Foster works with John Parr to write a tribute song to Hansen for the film St. Elmo's Fire. Foster and Parr tell the film company that the lyrics are inspired by events in the movie, but the title, St. Elmo's Fire, Man in Motion, makes it clear that the song is about Hansen, and indeed, Parr didn't watch the film before recording it, as Hansen gave him all the inspiration he needed. And I was him, and I sang it, Parr said, wheeling up the mountainside towards St. Elmo's Fire, burning in the sky. The few months of Hansen's tour take him through California and across to Florida. It's rough going, covering about 50 miles a day, while the team tries to drum up media support and donations. The tour heads to Europe in the summer, and over the next few months, the song climbs the charts and becomes Hansen's anthem, drawing more media attention to the journey. The Man in Motion tour takes Hansen through Australia, China, Middle East. He really went some places, didn't he?
Traveled, yes.
And by the time it finishes in Vancouver on May 22nd, 1987, Hansen and his team have been through 24 countries. $26 million raised, and national hero in his home country. His foundation continues to support people with disabilities, and it attempts to eliminate barriers, physical and perceptual, that may be holding them back. And we had to read that. It's kind of long, but you really have to know what Rick Hansen is all about
Who he
and
is
what he
and what he
means.
does.
And I love the theme from St. Elmo's Fire.
It's a great tune.
David Foster.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful piece of music.
Again, another iconic Canadian songwriter that a lot of people don't know. The amount of music David Foster has written for people like
Incredible.
Bryan Adams and Celine Dion, and you know, like big, huge stars. This guy's written a ton of music. There's a part of me though that makes me think he's a bit like Charlie Harper from 2.5 Men. Just had a little bit of wildness in there, you know. 2002, Pink Floyd guitarist David Gilmour decided he had enough money and gave the $4.2 million he got for selling his house to a homeless charity.
Yeah.
Dynamite.
David Gilmour. I was so infatuated with him as well. If it wasn't Robert Plant, it was David Gilmour. I just absolutely loved that man.
If you had to pick Floyd or
Always.
Zeppelin, well, it would be Zeppelin, I think. We're doing that. I'm pretty sure. But
Yeah,
Zeppelin,
pretty much,
Zeppelin, yeah.
But
Zeppelin for
a real
me,
tight,
definitely.
like, look at my hat, you know,
Yeah.
a real tight, close race, though.
yeah.
A real tight.
And by the way, I'm wearing my Leafs swag this week for those around the world. This is our hockey team. And we're going into a big week, and this is my Georgetown Raiders
local
swag.
and our
we're brought to you by
Local
we're brought to you
provincial.
by the Diabetes Society once again this week, and all these candies. I don't know what it is that the chimes. I mean, we have so many traditions around here. The chimes, the candies. It's
The laughter.
yeah.
fun.
The Acton dinner jacket
Theme.
cover.
It's too hot in here to be
Yeah.
wearing them right now.
Oh,
so.
yeah. Right now it's too warm.
All right, we got to get back to this. Mick Jagger was quoted, "Rock and roll's not over, as we know. I don't see one thing end until another beginning. Like when you break up with a woman, do you know what I mean?"
Yeah.
So I agree with him. I don't think rock and roll will ever die. You see these kids today still walking around with concert tees on and stuff like that of Led Zeppelin and the Stones and
Actually,
Aerosmith. And,
it's surprising. I've got a few people, clients that I work with, and they're in their early to mid 30s. They're guys, and they were listening to 70s music in their cars, and I went, "Wow, that is so amazing!" Because you don't expect it.
Because their mom and dad listened to it when they were growing
the
up.
kids-
in the backseat
No,
on
this one guy, he's Albanian.
Oh, video.
And
I go to
they
video
didn't
games.
listen. They didn't. I don't think they listened to that type of music though.
Well, too,
So
it's
it's cool.
infectious.
Well, the
It
wonderful
is,
thing about
definitely.
today's, the wondrous things of today, the internet, and you can get anything when you want, is the kids growing up today can listen to our music and look at it for themselves. They spend every moment on there anyway.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
they're starting to go, oh, the Beach Boys. I like the Beatles. I like the Beatles. Yeah. Oh, Creedence. Yeah.
Little do they know,
Yeah.
I do this to turn
Men in
them
Blue doing their
on to
job.
our music,
That's right.
our era.
All right, let's finish this off here. We're getting close to our timeline.
So 1965, the first Motown package tour begins in the UK with a show in North London. On the bill are the Supremes, the Temptations, Stevie Wonder, Smokey
Nice.
Robinson, and Martha and the Vandellas.
Nice lineup, man.
Can you imagine?
Nice lineup.
Can you imagine? Oh,
Smokey Robinson's just, I'm in
Amazing.
awe of that guy. I really
Amazing.
am. And Stevie Wonder.
Oh yeah, Stevie too.
Those guys are just incredible.
yeah. Oh, yeah.
1968, Eric Clapton jams with Buffalo Springfield members
Again.
Neil Young, Stephen Stills, Jim Messina, and Richie Furay at the
Topanga.
Topanga Canyon, home of Stills' girlfriend.
Yeah, but
And neighbors call the cops on these guys, and all but Stills, who escapes through a window, are charged with suspicion of marijuana use. Clapton beats the rap. Young, Messina, and Furay are found guilty, and they're fined. Isn't that amazing? Can you imagine being the coppers breaking in? Oh my God!
I would like to be a fly on the wall when they all got together after all this happened, and there's Stills who disappeared out a window while the rest of the rest.
I just had a vision
Hey,
of these two
Steve.
legs going out the
Steve.
bathroom window.
What was all that shit about love the one you're with, Steve?
Yeah.
Where are you going?
Can you imagine? Oh my God.
All right, our final story of the day. 1980, at Asylum Records in New York, 28-year-old Joseph Riviera holds an employee at gunpoint, demanding to talk to either Jackson Browne or one of the Eagles. When informed that they lived in California, Riviera pockets his pistol and leaves the building, later surrendering to police.
All right,
So-
and 1990, this is going to end the show.
Yes.
Near Scranton and heading for a show in Syracuse, Miami Sound Machine's tour bus was hit by a tractor trailer on a snowy highway. Gloria Estefan suffers a serious spinal injury requiring 4 hours of surgery. And while promoting her hit album Cut Both Ways, Gloria's tour is cut short on the snow-covered highway near Scranton when a semi-truck crashes into her tour bus, causing it to collide with a tractor trailer. My God, she went through all that. But now I'm just going to cut to the chase here. The experience provides inspiration for her first post-accident album, Into the Light, in particular the track Coming Out of the Dark, which is a nod to all the people who have gave her the strength to fight back from a very serious accident, because she was really in bad shape.
Yeah. Well, can
And,
you imagine being at full rest laying in a bus? Because you wouldn't have any kind of belting or anything
No,
on.
she was laying on a bunk.
Yeah.
when it
you know,
happened.
Like, you just go flying, man. Wow.
It's like a rag doll.
Yeah, yeah.
Thanks for
Pretty
joining
much.
us on the Top 40 Timeline radio show. And
You can check out all our radio stations, your radio
network. We have
station.
Radio GTA,
Yeah.
Canada's oldie station, FM108.ca, Halton Hills Online, and all the radio stations that carry our radio show every week. Check it out on social media. And
Thanks to our good pal Don Cherry and his son and daughter.
That's right.
We love having them on the show as well.
Right.
We hear our boys in blue out working really hard. in
They're
our
coming
local
for
area.
you.
No, that was fire truck, so we're
That's a
okay.
fire truck.
So, Big Daddy Russ Horton, Leah Lywood, I'm Lee Lake, and have yourself a great week. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll catch everybody on the B-side.
From Halton Hills, Canada, Canada's hometown.
Have a great week.
You
Those
too.
guys that do that, eh?
Yeah, I like that stuff. Yeah. All right, good show.